What's up, Dual Coast family? Welcome back to another exciting episode of Dual Coast Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Skoka, joined by my West Coast co-host, Russ Rogers, joined by a very special guest this morning from Mexico, Christina Schrader. Thank you so much for being here with us.
We're going international. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's fantastic. Christina, thanks for coming on this morning.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here with you guys. Thank you so much for the planning.
Yeah, it's I know you have been under the weather, but we are glad that you were smiling, you're happy, you're joyful, even no matter what your insides feel like. But we know you're improving.
Yes, I'm improving. I'm better. I'm good. I'm gonna be flying home later today, so it's fine.
Good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Speaking of flying home to my area, which I live.
Yeah.
And it was Dan, it's so interesting because I didn't realize this until I backlogged it, that Christina and I actually made contact around 2020, 2021, somewhere in there.
Really?
Yeah. And then we didn't, contact. And then all of a sudden, just like Sally Fu, she pops up on my thread. And I noticed in her link that she was from, or had been in the area of Oregon, and we were getting ready to do it. So I hit her up and I said, hey, we're going to be, you're in fitness, we're going to be doing an event up in Oregon. And she goes, oh, well, I don't live there anymore. And I'm like, well, where do you live? And she's like, I live in the Bay Area. And I'm like, I'm right there. Let's go. So we went to Phil's Coffee. About, roughly 2 weeks later, we met, we hung out, we had just great conversation, everything. And she goes, I have to connect you to somebody that I believe that you will love, and it's Dr. Will.
Dr.
Yeah.
Will.
And so, Christina, I don't know if you know this, but Dr. Will and I are like,
I bet you're best friends by now.
we are.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
are. We talk all the time. He also just recently joined my community of Next Gen Visionaries, so he's a part of that community. Just unbelievable. So you opened up the door, and then he was coming out of hibernation and winter in Portland. So him being Asian, he had the Asian white skin going on, and he's like, I want some sunshine. And it was like 95 degrees that day.
Yeah.
And he's just like, let's just sit outside. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So we sat up against this stone wall, Phil's.
Yes.
And we cooked like bacon. Yeah, we were like bacon up against that wall. But we literally had sweat going down the front of our shirts as we're drinking our coffee. So that's how we met. That's how we got connected. And I'm just so thankful that you said yes to coming on to Dual Coast Podcast and joining us this morning.
I love it. I know. And you even said, you're like, well, do you want to do this on the West Coast or do you want to do it on the East Coast? Because I end up in your side there too, Dan, quite a bit as well. So
True. Very
yeah,
true.
and it was neither. You're down south.
and now I'm not. Yeah. So we're all remote now, but it's fun. I love that we can do this.
Yeah, it's great.
Yes.
So you're a flight attendant. You have a business over in Los Gatos area of F-45, and just you're doing it. You're in shape. You're changing people's lives. You're making people move. Give us a little backdrop of who Christina Schrader is.
Well, I mean, for me, it started, after having my own children and watching that kind of struggle of chasing around three little people and like, how am I going to take care of myself? And my father had cancer, and it just sort of dawned on me that first time being that parent, saying to myself, hey, wait a second, I might be healthy or think I'm young and healthy now, but how am I going to parlay this later? Like nothing's coming for me is what I had, this bulletproof kind of attitude. So I really got into fitness for myself and working out. I just walked into AVAC, and you probably know AVAC, they're Russ, Almaden Valley Athletic Club. And I asked for a trainer, and they gave me the most outstanding gentleman. And I regard him highly, but he, a few months into working out with him, he's like, you ask all these questions that nobody asks. Like people just want to stand around and tell me their problems or whatever. He says, you're asking me about muscle groups and why we're doing this and all this. He says, you should do this. And so it planted the seed for me. And then so I took him up on it, and I finally got certified, but I didn't want to be away from my kids. So I started like really small, and did all of that, and did small group training and stuff like that in my garage. And then I finally ventured out and did Orange Theory, large group training. And from there, it planted that seed, like, I love what this is, and I think I can do it better. So I found,
Wow.
I find that a lot of owners, and no, I mean, this is great because people are like enthusiasts. They're like, this changed my life. I want to make a difference. I want to add to the community. And I felt the same way. I thought, there's a way we can do this and have a different spin. The fact that I'm in fitness, I think that was a different thing. There's several of us also that come from fitness that decide to own gyms, obviously, but it was really fun. So I decided, it's like now or never. You teach so many classes, you're either get to this point where you're like, my body's going to break down, or I have to start owning something. So that's kind of what happened. I took the stab, and that was in what was it, October 2019. So then we started breaking ground on designing the gym January 2020.
Oh, good
So
timing.
Wow.
yeah, I had excellent timing. I mean, it was like, boy, if you're just going to put yourself in the cooker, I did it. I did it. So we went through all of that, and and I'm amazed for it. And to be with the other local owners and going through all of that together, we ended up collaborating, and I think that was one of the other really beautiful things that came out of it. It tests yourself, and I think that that's one of the other wonderful things that we really find out what we're made of. I know I'm good under pressure. So it was one of those things where we just parlayed on March 17th. We were like, okay, what are we going to do? Facebook, Instagram Live, YouTube. They shut us all down because of music rights. And then finally we got over to Zoom. But I sold my first memberships on Zoom. And I proudly am very thrilled to say that I have at least a handful of those folks that started with me on Zoom. They're still members in my gym today.
Mm,
Yeah, right. So
great.
that was, and then we were inside, and then we were outside. I mean, we were in one of the most very restricted counties going through COVID. But I would tell you what, they'd send out those protocols, and I would sit there line by line going, okay, what can we do? What can't we do? And we just got through it. And my team was amazing. The instructors that I had start with me are forever in my heart, and they know that for sure. So
Mm,
we just we went through it, and we built this wonderful community, and that's really the beauty that came out of it, right? I always tell people when I'm training them, I'm like, I know you think you're training this, but you're really training this, right? We can go ahead and lift the weight, but this has to do all the really heavy lifting. I'm like, the heaviest thing is the door, right? Get through the threshold, get there, make it the habit. And then what I saw was this beautiful thing. They start going, well, where were you yesterday, Russ? You weren't here, and they become friends. We have people that have babies. We have like 4 or 5 babies now, and they get together like once a month and they hang out. We have people that have
mm,
game night. We have a whole group that they go to, in fact, they come here, they come to Cabo. One of my members, he comes to Cabo, and he brought like a whole party of friends for his birthday, and they went to F45 here. So it's really become this community and this family. And I love that. That's been this beautiful thing. And then my kids all grew up. My last one went to school, and I said to myself, I want something a little bit more. I want to do something else. I wanted to, I also needed a little bit of a break. So there was a few things going on there. And because I had a couple silent partners when I first started. So I largely did everything. And I really relied on, picking, specialties out of my staff to really help
mm.
me in areas, which was wonderful. And then I saw one of my friends like in the cowling, in the Southwest photo in the big engine cowling. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, I decided to do, fly. And I said, okay. So I dropped off my son at University of Arizona, Tucson, my youngest, and I went home and I saw this ad for Alaska Airlines, and I applied. And I just thought, oh, I'm never going to get this thing. I don't know anything about airlines. I'm just going to go through the process and learn, and then I'll decide if I want to learn more. Well, I kept getting advanced. And then the next thing I know, they offered me a job. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to try this. I'm going to go for it. But talk about turning your life upside down and really, really doing things, because I moved to Portland. I moved up to Oregon, and then I moved across into Washington. where I met Will at where he was getting started out before he started his own practice. I met him at the Joint. Don't ever turn down the Joint because you might need
Okay.
it. And you find the best people in there. 'Cause I
Don't
needed
turn down a
chiropractic.
joint or the joint.
The joint. Sorry, oh, I should clarify.
Good.
The joint. So chiropractic care.
Ah,
Okay.
So
Okay. All right.
because I
Just
was
wanted to
away
get
for
clarity.
yeah, yeah, no, very good. Because I needed to get my chiropractic care and I wasn't always at home. So and that's where I ran into him. But anyhow, I was there for a good year and then I did another training. So I was with the regional airline. Now I'm with the mainline airline. Do another training. Woo, I'll tell you what, that training to
Wow.
become a flight attendant is no joke.
I
It's way
bet.
more than a Biscoff and a Coca-Cola. That's actually, I think we get like a day of that training. Honestly, it's not even very much, but everything is about safety and comfort, which also parlays into being a leader, being able to speak in front of people. People tell me that all the time. They're like, your voice is great on the little microphone. You have no problem handling some problems on the plane or leading. I tend to like to lead or be the first class flight attendant
Mm.
and know what's going on and all of that. So what a huge adventure, totally different industry. And I'm loving it. So it's like this, I love that I'm being able to show that to my children
Yeah.
and to other people when they follow me. They're like, I love to see all these crazy things you're doing. That's like just wild. And I'm just wired that way that, there's always something more I want to be doing and learning. So it's been so much
That's
fun.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So I have a trivia question for both of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is so you remember like going in, you mentioned 2020 or in 2019, whenever going into this, COVID thing, where were you when that happened? What happened in 1999?
Well,
Trivia question.
well, everyone thought the world was going to stop.
What
Yeah.
what
Y,
were the initials?
Y2K.
Y2K.
Y2K. Yes.
Isn't that
Yes.
crazy? Like we forget
Yes.
about that, right?
I,
We'll
I know, but
never
that
forget. We'll never forget about COVID and the start of that and all the
right.
drama that. But Y2K was like building, 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 building. What's going to happen? Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, nothing. And
Yep.
so, well, maybe that's why I felt that way on March 17th. I was like, what's going on? Why are my contractors leaving? I'm like, there's nothing happening here. Well, we thought we were going on a 2-week break, but maybe not.
Right. we did. It was just
Yes,
extended.
It was
it was
extended.
very long. I was very jealous. All my friends were like, I'm doing puzzles, I'm reading books, I take all these long walks. I'm like, I'm staring at my ceiling fan at night, wondering what am I going to do tomorrow morning to get people into the gym?
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember being on a flight with like 11 people.
Yeah.
I'm sure you had many of those,
Well, yeah, I wasn't flying then, but once we were kind of allowed to go,
Yes.
I was going to see some friends and family in Arizona, and it was wild. It was a wild time. And talking to the flight attendants now, they're like, you have no idea what it was like. For them, they were furloughed first, and then after the 2 weeks break didn't happen, then they called as many of them back as they could that would come back into the environment. And
Yeah.
they're like that's when so many things changed. When we talk about some of the behaviors and things that we see on the plane these days, they said that's when a lot of things changed. So yeah,
Yeah.
interesting times.
Well, I know Dan is just biting at it right now to just jump in on a question, but I just want you to answer this real quick.
Okay.
For those that don't know what F-45 is, will you please explain what F-45
That was
is?
part of my question. Yep.
I knew I would
Absolutely.
steal it.
Absolutely. F45 is a franchise and a brand that was started in Australia. So that's the one reason a lot of people don't know a lot about it. It's kind of newer to North America, probably in the last 10 years, and I'd say slower on the West Coast than anywhere else. Huge in India, huge in Dubai, huge in these other markets. But F45 stands for Functional Fitness in 45 Minutes. The idea is, I love it. It's beautiful, actually. So 45 minutes isn't enough to kill you, right? It's enough to get your body going, and you're using what you need to do. They change between functional cardio and functional strength. So it will change design every single day, and then we have hybrids of both. Monday through Friday is always 45 minutes. Saturday I call your makeup day because it's 1 hour and it's a hybrid of both. So the idea is that you're building a lifestyle, right? if you work out too hard one day, especially in boutique fitness, they're like, I don't need to come back until next week, right? But 45 minutes is enough. And the fact that it changes every day, then you need to get everything. A lot of people will start and they'll go, oh, I hate cardio. I'm just coming on the strength days. Okay, great. They start to realize, oh, okay, I need that other piece, right? I'm like, well, your muscles are probably feeling, pretty sore when you start to move and function in a different way through cardio. Now you're going to flush through and you're going to feel so much better and whole. And you really can't do one without the other. I said, but it's okay to start with the strength. And then they end up on both on the full program. So it's designed that way so that you can come in 4 to 5 days a week, make it a lifestyle. Of course, we have all kinds of challenges and things. We've partnered with High Rocks, which is now owned by, and then Reebok is really in with us now. So they're doing our uniforms. So we've got their backing. We have a dietitian on board. You can use your HSA funds to get in there. You can get some support with, I think it's called Dr. G, and they end up using also HSA funds if they decide that maybe you need a GLP-1 or something else like that. They'll talk to you about that and dietary needs as well. So it's a really robust program. I think they've done a really great job. We're super fortunate. Mark Wahlberg just decided that he loved it. He lives in LA, obviously area, and he's got this beautiful home gym, but he'll go in, but he'll pay the trainers to come to his house and train him he trains at like what, 2 a.m., 3
Right.
a.m. And they come
Crazy
out
guy.
and then they do that. And then he got really involved in it, bought a few franchises himself, supporting his hometown in Boston and all that area. So really bringing that back. And then ended up when the major company in Australia started to take a bit of a spot where they needed help, he ended up supporting them in the CEO department and bringing in people that were helping him with his conglomerate. And we've really been thriving since, right? They've really brought us back to a space of health after going through COVID and everything else that we've
Yeah.
had to go through as a franchise. But I love the brand. I think they continue to always be modifying, seeing what else is fantastic going on out there. They'll bring it in and put a flavor of it in there, and then we can try it on and see what else is going on. The fact that they've partnered with High Rocks has been quite fun for our members, gives them that athletic, competitive edge to be able to go do that. So we brought that into the gym as well. Many of them have. So it's a lot of fun. It's a fun and dynamic.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. High Rocks seems to be the thing nowadays. Everybody's talking High Rocks.
Everybody's into it, especially when you're doing classes like this, because it's an indoor format, right? So, and it lends itself to that endurance type racing. So same thing, you're kind of going through it, but you also have to demonstrate a lot of strength in that. It looks grueling. We were fortunate enough that our crew had 40, I think they had about 40 of our members. They all went to the Las Vegas race.
Yeah.
And it was so fun. There were several of them that just went just to cheer on our team and just to
Mm.
cheer on our people. And
Yeah.
it looks like they had such a wonderful time. And so I know right now they're trying to plan what next race they're going to do together, and they're doing some simulations. And then we get the 12-week programming at a time to go through it, and they're loving it. So it's a lot of fun. I wish I was on the ground a lot more, because then I told them I would do it. So I'm still trying to figure that out, because I feel like
Yeah.
that's kind of the mini challenge in the back of my head. I'm like, well, you should really do it.
We got to figure out how to do air fitness, F45 on.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. I am working on that, actually.
Oh, okay.
That's
All right.
that's in
Okay.
the works.
Okay.
That's
I was just kidding,
awesome.
but okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably another big one. I don't know. I can't remember at the time, Russ. I'm sure I brought it up, but being in the air is really hard on your body. And I've watched my own body take its hit in the last 2 years of doing this job and really trying to get myself back. And I've had to put myself and force myself. In fact, I got a coach. I'm like, every coach needs a coach. Everybody needs a coach, right?
Yeah.
Because the accountability factor is massive. If for me to just go, of course I can write my own program. Of course I can watch my own macros. Of course I can do all that. But unless I have somebody watching over me to go, then I might fudge, right? So even myself, I hired a coach recently, and I said, okay, we got to hammer this thing out. And I want to put something together for flight crew. So I'm working on that I want to share individually with them all the questions that I hear, when I start to share on the plane with my colleagues what I do, and then they want to know more, right? So I'm like, well, somebody should be putting something together as a protocol and kind of just sharing that out. So that's one thing that's in the works I'm excited about.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Christina, you bring up a good point there. Like, you're talking to us from Mexico this morning because you are a flight attendant. How would you say you balance this demanding lifestyle of running the gym, being an entrepreneur, and being a flight attendant simultaneously?
Sometimes it's a challenge and it's on the fly like this. I might be at 32,000 feet and be getting a text message that the toilets are clogged or that the internet is down and it's happened, or the
Mhm.
alarm goes off or something like that. Thank goodness I do have wonderful partners now, and they are more they're doing the day-to-day operations, but there are still things that come up where they need me to do. So thank goodness for Wi-Fi and being able to get a few things done. But it really is like that. It is a juggling act for sure. And I just have to manage the time. Bigger part is sleep.
Mm.
Right. I could be on a different time zone. And I'm still trying to figure that out. I listen to a lot of podcasts. There's another sleep guy I really want to reach out to and just kind of say, like, you really talk about the circadian rhythms and how people should manage it for their long-term travel, or, just a one-off travel. But I'd like to hit him up and say, like, what would you say to us? I sort of feel like we are time travelers. We leave the ground. We always speak in military time, but once you're in the flight deck and you're talking to the pilots, they're on UTC, which is Zulu time. So we're really nowhere, right? We're everywhere and we're nowhere at the same time. So time is really important. So I try to manage my time, that I'm definitely wherever I'm backing out like 7 to 8 hours of sleep or rest. And then you need at least 1 or 2 hours to kind of get ready or eat. And then you need, another hour and a half to walk, or at least be getting some exercise or sunlight, getting out. I call it being out of the metal tube. So that's really important. Many flight attendants, they just take a lot of long walks and things like that. But yeah, it's really about planning. You have to plan your food, you have to plan your sleep, you have to plan your free time, and then there's fun layovers. There's definitely days I take as off days, especially a lot of times New York, if we're going to be able to catch a show or something like that. You buy tickets, go to a game. I've gone to a Mets game. That was super fun.
Yankees.
Yeah, I love, you know what, they weren't playing. They weren't playing
Okay.
the day I was there. So sometimes
All right.
sometimes it's what I can, it's
Just
just
needed
who's
some
playing.
clarity.
I know, I love baseball in general. So I would love to try to check off all the parks. But yes, it is a juggling act for sure. Just like anything else, it does take thought, and sometimes just be ready to go on the fly. Like I said, I am good under pressure. So it's like pivot. Okay, next, let me compartmentalize that over there, and then I have to focus on this over here for a minute. Again, thank goodness for great team on the ground when things go wrong at the gym, that we can usually get somebody over there to handle something pretty quickly. But it just, I even took a vacation. I was in Kauai during Mother's Day, and I was fortunate enough to have my daughter. She lives in Oahu, so she was able to fly over and spend Mother's Day with me. So we went to the beach that day, went to Merriman's, and had those lovely Lilikoi foam Mai Tais and lovely food. But we're driving down the road going to the beach, and my guy who works at the gym to fix things that are broken, he's calling me, and I'm like, really, today? I'm all, hey, John. And he's trying to troubleshoot something there. And I'm like, yeah. And he doesn't realize that it's Mother's Day or anything like that, or that I'm out of town. He doesn't know, I don't answer the phone like that. But so we're talking, and then he hangs up, calls me back again. And I'm like, okay. I said, so I go, here's the deal. I go, if it doesn't work after this, we're going to let it go. I'm like, it's Mother's Day. I'm on vacation. I'm like, we tried the best we can. It's not critical to running class tomorrow, but we'll pick it up. We'll pick it up tomorrow. He goes, oh yeah, happy Mother's Day. I'm so sorry. No problem. But even sometimes my phone has rang. It's so weird. The phone doesn't even work in the sky, but it does actually work in the sky. And he's actually called. I'm like doing announcements or something, and I see his name coming through. I'm like, oh, okay, something's wrong. So, so it really is a juggling act. But I don't know. I think in particular, I'm wired that way, that I just kind of go with the flow. Maybe it's being a mom of three. I also plays a part in that. But yeah, I think patience, perseverance, again, you have to really just dig deep into yourself. And I'm like, and at the end of the day, these are the things that are important to me. So it's important, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So, Christina, for somebody that's struggling with like, oh, where do I go? What do I do? What kind of program do I go to? Orange Theory? Do I go to High Rocks? Do I do, what kind of program do I get in? Do I need a program? Can I do it at home? Like all of these things. Do I need a gym? All of these things. What is it about F45 that really appeals to people? For those that are really thinking about like, what should I do? What's the
Right.
appeal?
Right. Well, that it's done for you. Number one, you walk in the door and we take care of you. Our model has two coaches in the room for 99% of the time, which means it's like personal training basically, right? So not only have we designed it for you, right, and we know how to scale it. So everybody's certified and they know how to scale, you can either regress an exercise to someone what they need or progress an exercise. That's what I really push on my coaches for. It's really important to me that they know how to do that on the fly in the moment. Sometimes I'm taking class and it's hard not to watch what's going on, and I'll just look at my coach and go, come here, over here. I'm like, start at their feet. What's going on over there? Like, what do you see? Can you fix that? Like, help them out. And I love it when they do. And then the person goes, oh my gosh, that's so much better. And I'm like, ta-da, there's the win. And that's it. So I call it know, like, and trust. And once they know us and they like us and then they trust us. So that comes with time. It comes with
Yeah.
them getting in there and getting to know our coaches. That's why I encourage my coaches to take classes side by side with our members, because when they see them sweating and hurting, then they believe them and trust them as well. Right? They're like, oh, they aren't just here because they're pretty and good looking or they know what to do already. They see them as human, right? And in the same experience. And I always tell my coaches, I go, you might be wondering why they don't understand, half your body weight in ounces of water a day. I'm like, because that's not their wheelhouse, but they understand compounding interest a lot better than you do, or whatever their job is. I said, but that's our job, is to make that real to them in a way that they either don't have to think about it too hard, right? Because we're kind of doing it for them, or they adopt it, and then they really kind of run with it and it changes their lives. That's the beautiful thing. I have seen so many people come in, deer in the headlights, never done anything before. I don't know where to begin. I got to do something. My doctor told me, I got to do something. And I said, just start at the start. Let's just start with one class. Let's just take this apart one piece at a time, and let the coaches or myself, if I'm coaching, let's just, you can do this. Oh, but I have a knee injury. Oh, but I'm pregnant. Oh, I have a hip, I'm just had hip surgery. I'm like, I think our oldest member is like, what did I tell you, Russ, like 70?
Yeah.
And I have a double hip replacement, and I have knees, and I have babies and pregnant and all kinds of things, or where they really can't get down on the ground. They can't hop around. I'm like, well, we can adapt anything that they need to do and have them feel successful. And that's what I tell my coaches. I'm like, this has to be the best 45 minutes of their day, because the rest of the time the world is kicking them in the butt. The moment they pick up the phone, they're back in their persona and who they owe this and that to. But I'm like, that 45 minutes, they come in their hours. They come in, I don't know if you're a doctor, a lawyer, a mom, a realtor, or whatever you are, but we are here, bodies in motion. And when bodies are in motion, they're open. I always say that. I'm like, so it's really important to me that the language that my coaches deposit is positive, not negative, and it moves them toward success, right? They need to leave feeling successful, not like they didn't do well enough, just enough that they go, okay, I'm going to come back and do that again. So small rewards, pats on the back, high fives, fist bumps, all of that has to be present, because we don't get that as adults. We don't get to play on the recess yard and high five our friend and have a good basketball game for 20 minutes and then go back in the classroom. Nobody's ever telling you do a good job. Nobody's ever, smiling at you across the way going, hey, how's it going? Or we're in this thing together. So I think that's what that creates there for them. And then as they continue through, they're like, okay, lifestyle. I love it. I've had so many members come in and then they're like, well, I want to bring my wife. And I go, has to be her idea. Number one, don't get yourself in trouble. Has to be her idea. And I've seen them come and they're like, he wants me to try this. And I'm like, excellent. And now they're the ones that are, they're there all the time, and they have their group of friends that they come in and see. So it's fantastic. And some people bring their young adult children. We get that. We get a lot of the athletes during the summer. But it becomes word of mouth, right? It becomes that thing where people go, I like that place. They
Mhm.
make me feel good. I enjoy being there. It's safe. It's clean. The people are nice. That's important. All those factors are important to me. It's not just
Mhm.
important, it's not okay. Just flip the lights on and go, okay, hit the music. Let's go. Maybe I should be a little bit more focused on my bottom line profit, but I'm more focused on the product,
Yeah.
what people are receiving,
Mhm.
because without that, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
It really doesn't
absolutely.
matter.
For
Yeah.
sure. For sure. Christina,
Yeah.
you know how we talked about before, you said, yeah, everybody should have a coach, and that kind of creates them to have an accountability partner. Would you say that community style fitness creates the same type of environment for these people? And why would you say these people stay more consistent with a community based gym like yours?
Right. Same exact thing, right? You have that accountability. Like I said, people will be like, well, where were you? Or they all talk to each other. And they're like, are you coming to this class? Which class are we all going to go to? Yeah, there's a gentle pressure, right? There's a gentle pressure. And then once they are in the community, there's acceptance, right? There's an acceptance and a friendship and a family. Like they don't like being without each other, or when they have to take a break for a vacation. Oh my gosh, I've missed you. I think it's what we're all desiring so much of, right? Virtual does a lot for us. It's done a lot more especially when we can be on camera versus like
Hmm.
just our voice, and especially versus text. But I think that again is something, that really lends itself to, building that continual lifestyle for people. And that's really what we're all trying to do, right? Everyone has habits that they do all over, but the ones we really want to keep are the ones that keep us healthy and have our longevity in focus. So, we have a whole slew of people that are what do you call it? Electronic nomads and work from home folks. So they are already lacking community, right? If they have to go in, it's the day they have to put on the suit and show up for the meeting. It's not on the daily, again, where no water cooler, no like Friday, whatever bagel bash or whatever they have at work. So this has become that extension for them, right? As far as that goes. And then it puts that gentle pressure on them to keep coming back. We have accountability challenges. We have opportunities where we have a lifting club where we're adding in like specialty lifts so that they'll learn more about advanced lifting for themselves. um, Things like that just sort of pique the interest. We'll throw in mobility. We'll throw in a yoga class. I look at all my instructors. I'm like, you're a yoga instructor. You're amazing. I'd love for you to do a series. I'd love for you to do mobility. Let's talk about how they use their gun, that Theragun. Like, what are we talking about? I'm bringing in the 16th of June. We're having like a summer bash. We're going to have Nutrition Palace, which is one of our supplement groups out. So again, they've extended a nice thing to us. They let our people come in and use their body scanner, and then we talk about like what kind of basic supplementation they might want to be trying out. So they're coming out to help. We have Water Tower restaurant. They're coming out, and they've now starting some no seed oils and gluten-free food prep. So they're going to be coming out also sharing their products. So again, any extension, I love local business, and I love to make us all come together. Same thing, Russ, like we were talking, I'm like,
Hmm.
connect the dots, because it keeps us all closer together. And I find that that's the most important thing. And I think that I found that's kind of my thing, kind of in my own head. But that's what people need. They need that accountability, and they need
Hmm.
repeat process in order to keep it as a lifestyle, right? And then they'll always reevaluate, or will bring up something like, okay, well, now you've mastered that. Now let's start to think about, what else are you doing for your own mental health? What are you doing to do with meditation? How are you doing with your sleep? Are you monitoring those things? Do you need a different kind of community for those types of items? So it just continues to, file through all of the different areas that aren't just about working out or lifting a weight or jumping or running.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
Well, you're flying all over, right? You're a flight attendant. You're owner of F-45 and everything. What is it for you that keeps you grounded? What keeps you stable in your life? To with juggling all of these things that you're juggling.
Well, my children for sure. I have three children. They're 27, 24, and 21. And so keeping in touch with them, they're all in different places and very busy, and I'm very proud of all of them. Um, but staying true to them and being their mother,
Mhm.
that is my first role and my priority. And then also for myself, then I put that on myself. Well, if I'm here for them, then I need to be my healthiest. So health is my number one value. So I always think about that. What's my physical body, but it really trickles from the other way, spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. So I have to be focusing on all of those things. And it's about, I don't like to use the word balance. I like to use the word harmony, because even when I look at, our members coming in, right, they might be highly focused on a very busy career that they're in, right? We live in Silicon Valley, so we've got some very, A-list type people working. And they're very focused on their career. And then they realize, oh my goodness, I have to focus on my body, or I'm not going to be able to do the career, and I'm not going to be able to produce for my family and all of these other things. So it's kind of the same thing. And that I have to look at my foundation, spend time with some spiritual practice, grounding myself, meditation. I was telling Russ, I practice a Hawaiian spirituality that has really kept me in touch, and I love it. It does everything with harmonizing what is out there in nature, right? So that's great when I'm outside of the tube too. So spending time getting your feet in the grass, all the elements, right? You've got, earth, water, wind, fire, and trying to harmonize those, taking time for that to slow down. Gratitude is really important. And then what I put in my body, nourishing, right? Focusing on getting hydration, focusing on getting the sleep, self-care, self-love. And then you've got to have connection to community, connection to friends, things that keep you interested. Love to meet new people. Networking, obviously one of my favorite things to do. So being in the sky gives me the opportunity to meet people from all over, which I truly enjoy. That sort of rounds it out. That keeps me in a space where I'm like, okay, keeping all of that in harmony is really helpful. Of course, sometimes we get a little heavy on one thing, and that's what I tell people. I'm like, well, sometimes, you drop a ball out of the air because you're busy working on one thing. Don't chastise yourself. But when you can refocus and add that back into the mix, that's when you do that, right?
Yeah.
It is progress. It's not perfection. I have to look at myself that way too. I tend to be a bit perfectionist, like, no, 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 no. It's not exactly right. We have to do it like this. But I've given my humbling myself through COVID and everything. I'm like, well, that's just gonna have to be good enough today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, really the harmony of putting all the elements together and keeping that in mind, that we're really just this progress and we're just moving through in this journey together. So that has to be part of it, right? We just have to keep working on it. We're not finished. It's not a destination. When I hear people say that, oh, it'll be great when I've lost that much pound, that many pounds, or I've achieved that one thing. And I'm like, but there will always be something else. So I always tell people, I'm like, when you get to 90% of the goal achievement, that's when you need the next goal.
Mm.
Your brain will also stop, like the subconscious will be like, well, we're there, like, because you haven't given us anything else to go after, right? So in learning kind of that model, and kind of adopting that, then people see like, oh, okay, I see, it's this continuum. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Christina, you started up in the fitness realm, training, went to Orange Theory, eventually into F45, then got into being a flight attendant. So multitude of things going on. If you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
Ah, follow your gut, trust your gut, number one. I spent too much time being quiet and shy when I was much younger. And I remember my mom saying, get involved in everything, put yourself into everything. It's the only way you'll know what's for you. And so I would definitely say that, like, if something interests you, get your foot into it, because you don't know yet, and then people, oh, I don't want to fail. Well, it's really not failure, it's feedback. If it didn't go for you, it just means it wasn't meant for you. There's something better for you. And that just gave you some lessons to learn. So that's what I would say. Like, you've got to take risks. I would never have considered myself a risk taker. When people say that to me now, they're like, wow, you really take risks. And I'm like, I do. I'm like, no, I do. I now I realize that I'm like, oh, I do, and good. And so I tried the same. I'm like, nope, I'm gonna go for it because what's the worst thing that can happen? It didn't go for me. It didn't work. Great. Now I know that's not for me. I need to pivot, change, take a different lens, go look over there. And it builds your trust and it builds your confidence in yourself, right? And that people, like I'm like, bet on yourself all day long, man. Always bet
Mhm.
on yourself all day long. My two younger children, well, my oldest one has a great little YouTube channel he's made for himself. He's really teaching people some things. And my daughter opened she's got 808 Prime Time in Oahu. She's started an 18 and over co-ed flag football teams and tournaments and all kinds of things. And she called me, Mom, I want to start a business. I'm like, how about we finish college first? And then the same thing, my youngest called me a year ago. He goes, Mom, I want to start a music production company. And I'm like, what? No, let's finish school. And they're like, well, who do you think we learned this from? This is because of you. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Go for it. So they are. And I love it. It's fantastic. I'm like, you never know. I'm like, it could go. And maybe it's just your first one. I'm like, there's value in having I felt like this at first. I was telling myself about F45. I'm like, COVID. I'm like, maybe it's a sunk cost value. Maybe all of this was for naught. Maybe I'm going to lose my rear end in this whole thing.
Mhm.
And there's certainly people you think are your friends along the way go, you're crazy. Why'd you do this? It's never going to survive. Businesses don't last 3 years. I'm like, well, we're coming up on 6 years, baby. So there you go. So just keep going. Yeah, it's the same thing. You're lifting the weight, you're lifting the weight, you're lifting the weight. I'm like, don't let go of the flex because it's going to come to the top eventually. You're going to win somewhere. It is a numbers game. You have to keep going.
Yeah.
That's definitely it.
Yeah. Are you at 90% of something of a goal that you're looking at something that's ahead? Are you projecting, some other adventure, some other challenge for yourself?
Yes, I am because I have a mind that just never stops. Let's see. Like I mentioned, I'm working on this protocol that I would like to share with crew.
Yeah.
I'm collaborating with one of the pilots as well because not only does he have the male perspective, but the pilots have a different situation on the other side of the door. They do an awful lot of sitting, another very different thing on their body. So I'm collaborating and bringing together best practices. That's one of my favorite words, best practices, and going to bring that together, and then I want to share that out not only for crew. Then I was fortunate enough, I had one of our former vice presidents on our flight recently, and she said, do you have any questions? And I said, oh boy, do I. I said, I have all these questions about, how do we do things and could we do things better, and same things. I said, I own this small business by comparison to large Alaska Airlines. I said, but here are some things I know that are true, and I said, who could I talk to about any of that? I said, I might be wasting my time, I'm sure, and all of that. I said, but it's worth a shot. She connected me with the VP of culture, and I ended up with a nice 30-minute Zoom meeting with him, and just sort of he wanted to hear everything I had to say, which I was quite impressed with. And I listed off all kinds of things. We're also going through a merger right now, which is never fun for anyone. I've never been in a large company like this or with a merger. And so it has challenges. We're merging with Hawaiian Airlines, and there's a lot of moving parts. And we're also in an airline that's growing and becoming international. So all of these things are really important and they have to be done well. We have a lot of employees that have to be done right by, and it can be challenging. So I brought up a lot of things to him that sparked some other conversations. He put me in touch with some other people. So I'm trying to go down that rabbit hole of each one of those and see which might take. So who knows? Maybe something more on the other side of the house that's not in the flight attendant seat. Who knows? But definitely want to be helping and make that side better. I love customer service. I love the feedback I get from our flyers when they tell us we've done a great job. Just like my coaches. My coaches are my biggest retention piece. It's not me. It's not even the model or the workout of F45. It is what they are getting from those people. And the same is true. When you fly, it isn't about, yay, we got there safely. I mean, that's the expectation. It
Yeah.
isn't the pretzels. It isn't the Coke. It isn't any of that. It's how were you treated? I say this all the time, and the employees feel the same way. they have to be seen, they have to be heard, and they have to know that they matter.
Mm.
Much more challenging, I think, for a flight attendant group of over 7,000, close to 10,000 of us, and or then the pilot group as well. But I have a much smaller group at F45, but every soul is important to me, and it's important that they feel seen, heard, and that they matter. My
Love
coaches
that.
so much so. Yeah, that's it. It's how we keep it going. So
Yeah.
that's always on my mind, how to make something better. I'll wake up in the middle of the night and go, oh, that's a great idea. Who knows?
Great.
Yeah, but that's what's next. That's what's next, at least that I can see on my plate. I'm excited about it and working toward that.
Good
And
job.
yeah. So we'll see what's next. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, we got to ask this question, Russ. Christina, you brought up a statement before that we actually like to close this show out with, and we'd like to ask our guests what it means to them. You had mentioned it before, and that statement is, wellness is not about perfection, it's about progress. What would you say that statement means to you?
Yes, same thing, right? If I push so hard to be perfect and to finish it, I bet you I'll never even start.
Mm.
And that's really what happens, right? So many people stop. They don't even start. And so you have to start with baby steps and then successful. I always tell people, I want to do everything. I want to do the diet and the exercise and the mental health. I'm like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. So I had to learn that for myself. Baby steps. I'll start with the physical. I'll get into my mental. I'll get into my emotional. I'll get into my spiritual. And now we have a flow. So looking at yourself as a whole picture, you're not just one item. You're not just one thing there. So perfecting is really not, the perfection is in you. You're already perfect the way you are. Now, how can you go ahead and move that forward? Like I said, find the harmony, find the balance, find what can work with you in the flow. That's what I say with the elements. Mother Nature's already showing you. Sometimes it will be turbulent. Sometimes it will be calm. And then there's a beautiful mix of all of it. And that's really what we all are. And that's where we should focus on, living, right? It's never going to be one way. It's never going to be perfect. And those moments of joy, celebrate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The day after Memorial Day, Christina comes in and just knocks it out of the park.
Fantastic.
Yeah, such a blessing to have you on Dual Coast this morning. Thank you. I'm glad you were feeling so well to make it and to be with us today and to enlighten all of our listeners and the people that are going to be hearing this in the coming days and weeks and months. So, Christina, thank you so much for being a part of Dual Coast.
Guys.
And when you find some time, let's go grab a fill sometime.
Absolutely. I'll be back soon. It'd be great to do that.
Christina, where can people find your F45 specifically?
I am F45 training Branham Park, which means I am in San Jose, California. So come on down. Everybody who already is a member at F45, when you're visiting, you can go 6 different times to any other F45 everywhere, which I also love when I do. I wanted to go to the Cabo one, but I wasn't feeling well enough. But San Jose, California, look us up. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We've got our own website with Branham Park. Always love it when people write in and they're like, I'm visiting, can I get in? I'm like, absolutely. We love to have people in, and I will always honor that free trial membership. Get in, get a few classes under your belt, see what we're all about. So that would be great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Amazing podcast today. I think people got a lot out of this. We touched on a lot of different topics. Christina, thank you so much for being with us this morning. We really appreciate your time.
Well,
thank you.
Thank you.
All right. See you in the sky, too. I'm going to come see you soon, Dan.
You guys take care. Thank you so much
All
for
right.
listening. Please check us out on those podcasts on all social media handles. Listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music. We'll see everybody next week. Christina Schrader, thank you so much again.
All
Thanks,
right,
Christina.
guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.